Welcome back to Mavericks Game Night on TXA21. It is a loss for Dallas tonight in Game 2 of the opening round of the 2009 playoffs. 105-84 the final, but there's a huge bright side to this because the Mavericks come down to San Antonio and get a split in the first 2 games of this series. That's Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo, and as the Cowboys' fortunes go, so goes the opinion of Romo. A win, and he silences his critics, at least for a week. So Dallas, this is confusing. Dallas owns the tiebreaker over Denver, who owns the tiebreak over, for me, because I'm not that smart, who owns the tiebreak over Utah. The Jazz, of course, own the tiebreak over the Mavericks. So
don't ask me anything. It means nothing. Absolutely
it doesn't.
Nothing.
And like Rick Carlisle said, things will probably be up for grabs going into that very last night of the regular season. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones on Wednesday and mentioned for the first time, and you heard what he said there, that if good things happen, the Cowboys get a playoff berth, a home playoff game, and a possible bye in the playoffs. All things they weren't able to do last year, that things would bode well for Wade Phillips' chances of returning as the head coach. Then Wade talked about it as well that same day, sort of defended his credentials, Steve. Now, was this a positive for Wade Phillips, or was Jerry sort of putting him on notice?
You know,
that sounds like a good PR strategy, Steve. I like it. Maybe you can offer up some consulting services. Okay, well, let's talk about the Cowboys' offense real quickly, because after they struggled to put up 7 points for 2 straight weeks, the offense seemed to rebound against the Raiders on Thanksgiving, especially with some big plays. Felix Jones, a 46-yard run. Tashard Choice, a 66-yard run against Oakland. Miles Austin and Jason Witten, some 40-plus yard catches. The big question is, are those big plays here to stay, or were they a byproduct of playing a bad Oakland team? And really, what makes the big play come and go? Is it what the defense gives you, Steve? A bit of a question about the health of DeMarcus Ware. He's playing with a stress fracture in his foot, also has a small wrist fracture, but that won't seem to stop him from today's game or something else. Will it, Steve? Okay, and on that note, we thank you for joining us. A late happy birthday to Babe. For Steve Dennis, Randy White, I'm Gina Miller. Thanks for joining us. Throughout the Mavericks' 12-game win streak, they've talked about maintaining their focus. They might have had to dig a little deeper tonight against a Nets team who has won fewer games all season than Dallas has in the last 2 weeks. Mavericks going for win number 13 in the row, hosting 7-56 New Jersey. Eric Dampier back in the lineup tonight. Dallas came out a little flat, trailing by as much as 18 in the first half. Former Mav Devin Harris led New Jersey with 21 points. Mavs went in the locker room down by 8 at the half, but when Jason Kidd hit this 3, one of his 5 on the night, that tied it at 54. Kidd does it again in the fourth quarter. He led Dallas with 20 points, and the Mavericks pull out the come-from-behind win. They've now won 13 straight games with a 96-87 victory. Stars playing the Sabres, going for their first win in Buffalo since they won the Stanley Cup in '99. Things didn't look so bad early on when Steve Ott got his 12th goal of the season to tie the game at 2 in the first period. Looked even better when Jamie Benn notched his 16th goal of the year to give Dallas a 3-2 lead. But Buffalo kept putting shots in the net, and Thomas Vanek gets his shot past Marty Turco midway through the second period to give the Sabres a 4-3 lead. Stars lose 5-3. They're 1-4 in their last 5 games. Texas Rangers playing the Mariners in surprise. Potential owners Nolan Ryan and Chuck Greenberg taking in the action. C.J. Wilson, sort of auditioning for a spot in the starting rotation, started the game giving up 1 hit over 3 innings, struck out 2. Utility infielder Ray Almedo is trying to earn a roster spot. He went 3 for 3, scoring a run, but the Rangers lose again in surprise. 6-3 the final score. North Texas will be well represented at the boys' state basketball tournament in Austin. Ponder, Dallas Madison, Lancaster, the Colony, Flower Mound Marcus, and Garland Lakeview will all be vying for a shot at a state title. Now, the Colony left today for their 4A semifinal matchup against powerhouse Houston Yates, who's won 56 straight games. The Colony players know it's a tough matchup, but they believe they have as good a chance as anyone to hand Yates its first loss of the year. And let's be truthful, we're rooting for all the North Texas teams.
Yes,
Every single one. Right.
Today was a big one in surprise, but the Rangers had a big name leave practice early. The Rangers went through their first full squad workout of spring training this morning. We got to see Vlad Guerrero in a Rangers uniform for the first time, but Josh Hamilton got out of uniform quickly. He bruised his left shoulder and suffered a muscle spasm when he dove awkwardly while trying to catch a ball. Now, he didn't want to talk about it on camera, but told me while walking to his car he's glad it happened in the first workout so he can get back to practice quickly. The team is downplaying the injury, but given the fact that he's been injured in the past and the fact he played just 89 games last year, it could be reason for concern. The Rangers, though, don't seem to think it is.
Nothing that's happened before.
Nothing.
Those fingers are definitely crossed when it comes to Josh Hamilton. Right-handed pitcher Omar Poveda looks like his season is done. He has a right elbow strain. Looks like he's going to have Tommy John surgery on that. We're back here tomorrow live from Phoenix from Ranger Spring Training, babe.
And you said a Band-Aid wouldn't even help. I don't care if you had a Band-Aid this big,
this
it
isn't
wouldn't
about
help.
a Band-Aid right now. We'll get to it, though.
Yeah, we will get to that because it's a busy night in the NBA. Teams are gearing up all over for the All-Star break. We're going to talk about All-Star weekend. Derek has a lot of responsibilities
I do.
this
Looking
week.
forward to it.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. But the Mavericks are playing their 52nd game of the year tonight before they head to the All-Star break. Just 30 games left after this one. And I think we can safely say, will the real Mavericks team please stand up? Because I'm not sure we know who it is. Well, it's a testament to their record right now over the last 10 games. Dallas is just 5-5 over the last 10, playing .500 ball. And some of those losses, quite frankly, came to some dog teams. They lost to a bad Minnesota team on Friday night. Now, Dallas did rebound well last night, getting a win over the Golden State Warriors, but they had to battle yet again. They trailed by 8 going into the fourth quarter before rallying for a 127-117 win. Now, interestingly, the only team the Mavericks have beaten in their last 6 tries is Golden State, with the win last night and a win over them last Wednesday.
I just think we got.
He said that the Mavericks were bored, and that just... Can you say that about a veteran basketball team? It was emotional for just about anyone who's ever had anything to do with Texas Stadium, including our next guest. Cowboys defensive lineman Marcus Spears has been with the Cowboys for 5 seasons, first 4 in Texas Stadium. What's it like for you knowing that Texas Stadium is no longer there?
It's amazing, you know.
Now, can I pull back the curtain a little bit? Can I tell them what you were doing this morning?
Yeah, you can.
Marcus wasn't actually watching. You were... Fishing?
Fishing.
That's okay. And you caught something, too. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Okay, the Cowboys offseason, you know, everybody's wanting to know, what are the Cowboys going to do this offseason? No significant free agent moves, but a number of restricted free agents, including yourself, received tender offers. You've signed yours, and I think many people were surprised for a couple of reasons. One, because you signed it so quickly. Walk us through your decision to do that.
Well,
Now, you kind of allude to it a little bit. It was less than what, we'll get to that in a moment, but it was less than what your backups were making. Does that upset you at all? And it's very interesting because you allude to it. There could be some offseason maneuvering that some have speculated that could involve you as well. The Cowboys are known to make a lot of draft day trades.
Yeah.
We've known that for quite some time. Would that surprise you at all? Has anything even been said to you? And Cowboys head coach Wade Phillips said he wants to see some competition among his defensive linemen. When you hear that, what does that mean to you? Do you think he's talking to you? I mean, do you think he's pointing that towards you? The trends with this Mavericks team, they're pretty bad over this past month, the way they've played defensively. Of course, the big thing for them is to make sure these little bumps in the road don't turn into potholes, which really derail this team. But defensively, they have to do something to get this ship sort of turned in the right direction.
Or is January's match?
The Mavericks team that was second in the Western Conference, you know, a Mavericks team that had beaten the Lakers in L.A. You know, I think they can get back to where they were defensively. I don't know if they can do it with this current squad. They've made some changes, inserting Jason Terry into the starting lineups. They've lost a little bit of that spark off the bench. The Josh Howard situation is curious. You know, he had 17 last night, but it was 14 in the first half. And J.J. Barea seems to be struggling a little bit right now. I think the Mavericks need just a little bit more firepower. You hope you get that firepower in here, that person can establish the chemistry, integrate within the system, and maybe kind of get back to where they were earlier in the season. I think they can get back there.
You know, Josh Howard, but what's going on with Josh right now?
I'd be a millionaire if I could figure that out. You know, but I think you're right, though. You know, how fragilely they treat him. When he gives a good interview, it's good job, Josh. Good job, Josh. If he makes a free throw, it's the same way. You know, he just is a player who does not seem to have that dedication, that focus, really, that passion that he did have when he was an all-star. I've seen it with him personally. I've seen it with him on the court, you know, the way he is aggressive with the ball. He is even, the team wants more out of him. They've talked about that as well. They need to see him be a better teammate, distribute the ball better. Even if he can't attack like he could with that ankle issue, they need to see him be a little bit more productive, even if it's not from a scoring standpoint, at least get his players in better positions to make plays.
And he's going to be on this team after the trade deadline.
I think there are two sides to that coin. I have heard that Josh Howard is being shopped, that his name is being involved in potential trade talks. Granted, though, Mark Cuban said yesterday that they are looking at just about any opportunity, that they are going to be as aggressive as anyone, but they're not going to deal to make a deal. That being said, I think it would be hard to keep Josh Howard on this team, knowing what we know about him, knowing his name is out there in trade conversations, wondering what kind of productivity you would get from him.